Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
I have not.
Summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
No,
I
don't care.
Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Right to the dang hook.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget. Live, not so live. And welcome to the Low Budget Live Bar and Bunker Bar and Grill. And we are back. We're back home. The Triple Threat and I, obviously, you saw it last week. Spent about 4 days down at St. George Island, Apalachicola. We're back. We're back, and it was a big news week, and there's lots of stuff going on. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. If you are new to this program, the song you just heard is a song by myself, all by myself, written by myself, sang by myself, recorded by several people in a room. But that is Biloxi Blues, available on iTunes, available on Spotify. Get that question a lot. About where is it available? Spotify. Just invented something. There you go. Spotify, iTunes, you can find that. And if you are just finding yourself here and you're wondering what this is Low Budget Live, and you are now a low lifer. It's what the loyal, faithful listeners of the Low Budget Live podcast refer to themselves as. I didn't start calling people low lifers. They gave the name to themselves, and they are very proud to wear that. And there's a bunch of them, and I like being a low lifer with them. So welcome. You are now a low lifer. Hope all y'all are doing well out there. It has been a big news week in my life personally. As you saw, 2 podcasts this week. One of them was pre-recorded. Should have put that at the bottom of the screen. A little pre-recorded from a secret business meeting that happened in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee with the NPFL, the league, as we're calling it, the league. And it was announced that your boy has taken Low Budget Live to higher budget commentating live. And I'm going to be the head commentator, the host, if you will, the face, one of the faces, but the first face announced for the National Professional Fishing League kicking off in March 2021. If you missed that video, go back and watch it. I had Brad Fuller, Paul Benson from the NPFL on that podcast right here at this very bar and grill. Great time talking to those guys. Really enjoying getting to know those fine folks. And they got big plans. They got big plans for 2021 and beyond. And I'm very excited. I'm anxious. We're going to get into that. The format's going to be a little different today, and here's why. So I'm running way behind. Y'all know that I am currently, I've talked about it on here, but I am working on Lake Teresa. We've talked about it on here. I've got a video coming out later this week about Lake Teresa, showing you the build, so to speak. Going to do a video series on that. Private lake we're building. Look, small guy, 3 acres, whatnot. So, Lake Teresa. And I was out there working with Dad, placing structure, had the boys out there. It's kind of been a crazy afternoon. You'll see in the video why, but lots of things happened while we were out there. It's crazy. But we've got rain coming, and this thing's filling up with water. It's nuts. So anyways, I was out there. We had work to do, and I realized I'm supposed to be doing a podcast with a guest literally right now. So I'm going to give him a text. So we're going to start with a call today. See if we can get him. He is giving us the LBL exclusive to all the craziness going on in his life because he is a low lifer himself. He doesn't necessarily always agree with everything I've got to say, but he is a low lifer. He is a guy that, for me, it's very strange. I've had him on a few times, but for me, it's very strange to be friends with some of your childhood fishing heroes, and this is one of those for me. He's a guy I got to know on the FLW tour. He is a guy that shoots from the hip like I do. He will say, "Bubba, that sucks. Bubba, you suck. Bubba, this sucks. You better catch them better, Bubba. You better not be throwing what you're throwing. You're going to get beat." I mean, he's a very honest guy. He just completed his first year on the Bass Pro Tour. He did fairly well there. He also just wrapped the FLW Tour Super Duper tournaments up with a top 10, which he is no stranger to the top 10 in FLW competition whatsoever. He is the all-time leading money winner from FLW, and that is Mr. David Dudley. And we're going to see if we can get him on the phone because we got a lot of things to ask him.
Hello.
Double D. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, LBL?
LBL in the house. Let me ask you this. I saw on Instagram yesterday you were driving a tractor. Are you still driving a tractor today?
No, I just got kicked out of the racquetball court because they're shutting down the YMCA at 4 o'clock on a Sunday. So
what?
I got 2 games of racquetball in, and we won both games.
So you're just thumping heads in racquetball then, huh? I done heard that. I think the last time I had you on LBL, or one of the times I've had you on LBL, you were just finishing a racquetball game. I do remember that. I do.
Yeah, I love this sport, man. It's a good sport. It keeps your quick thinking, quick decisions in shape, and it keeps your body in shape.
Okay, so for all y'all watching this on YouTube, comment below if you thought going into this that you knew everything about David Dudley. He puts his life out there on his YouTube channel. You followed him for years between FLW and the BPT and Bassmaster back in the day. Did you think that he was like a pro racquetball player? I need that comment. I need those comments. I need to know if y'all ever thought, man, you know what? I bet he's a racquetball guru.
Hey, I'm gonna throw it out there even more. So if there is a listener that is a racquetball player and you in somewhere in your city, you get in touch with me and we will go play racquetball.
Oh, come on. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Follow the tour wherever I'm at. If you're a smack talking racquetball player, hit me up and we'll go play.
Dude, I'm going to learn how to play racquetball just so I can play you because I have to see this because your intensity level when fishing is like more than most people, and I can't even imagine what it's like in that kind of competitive environment. Now,
I haven't played in a while, and just in 2 games, my voice is about gone from me screaming and running my mouth, and so I need to get my vocal cords back in shape.
So is it like a league you play in there at home, or is it just some buddies that you meet up and play with? How's that work?
Yeah, so this is how it all went down. I played football, basketball, baseball since I was 6 years old. Never missed a season. So I graduated cold turkey of sports, and a guy introduced me to racquetball when I was 17 years old, and I'm 44 now, and I've been playing it ever since.
That's awesome. And it's so funny to me. You see so many guys gravitate towards competitive fishing now that were baseball players. You know, there's lots of guys that play AAA ball, like Russ Lane's one that comes to mind for me, played AAA ball. But it's a natural progression for something competitive too. So is that kind of where your tournament fishing came from too? Is that love of competition and sports being cold turkey cut from you after high school?
I think when I came out of my mama's womb, I was talking smack out of my mama's womb of competition.
I believe that. I know that's right. I know that's right.
But racquetball, though, in serious note, it's such a quick and fast sport, and you have to take your mind, like, everything's based on instinct and quick decisions, and I think it carries over into fishing. I actually think it helps me.
That's awesome.
In my mental game out on the court when, it transpires over into fishing. It's an awesome sport, and you got to be in shape. You got to be a hustler, and I love it. I love it.
That's awesome, buddy. Well, all right, we got. I told the guy. I literally, normally my format, I talk long-winded, and then I have a guest towards the end. I'm running behind today because I've been down working on the farm myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start LBL with Dudley. And then I'm going to get into all the craziness of my life and everything going on in the sport. But so you just wrapped year one on BPT. You had a good year. And then you ended it with an exclamation point of another top 10 on the FLW tour at the Super Tournament. Talk about what that year was like for you as far as that format, which is very different from anything you've ever fished. I remember talking to you in the beginning before you went, and you're like, yeah, man, I don't know. You were kind of nervous about it. You were excited, but you didn't know. So now 1 year removed from Bass Pro Tour and the format, talk about that. What you're a veteran dude. You've won it all pretty much. What was it like?
It is a very good format, and but I'll put it to you like this way. I just got, did a top 10 at
Sandusky.
Sandusky, where we were at last week. It's just two different games. Like it's just a different game. It's like somebody saying Texas Hold'em and playing poker. It's two different formats. It's two different games. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the five fish format when I went back. I don't think either one of them, I favor either one of them greater than the other, because I truly do enjoy both formats. But I can tell you, probably the intensity might be a little bit higher because last week I had a good limit in the live well, decent limit, and I found myself just during the competition time taking my time, replying.
Yeah.
And it was like I wasn't pressured, and I was like, oh my gosh. I said the pressure of the BPT, which is just a different game, versus the five fish game, it was like, whoa, this game's got a little bit more intense, but it doesn't mean that it's a better format.
Right. And I think I had Justin Lucas on, and we kind of talked about that, how where in a five fish deal, like we've all got a goal in our mind when we start a five fish tournament day, right? Like a goal weight or what have you. Obviously you want to catch as much as you can catch, but there are some places we know 15, 17, 18 pounds. That's a good day. You get there, you're like, okay, I can kind of breathe a little bit. But in that MLF format, dude, I mean, it probably is hard, especially if you're towards the bottom or in the middle of the pack. It's probably hard to ever take a break because the score tracker's dinging going off and you're, never at ease, I guess.
Well, now, I'm going to try to say this without saying it. If you're in the middle of the pack and you're playing the game, it's like, I don't know, playing a game of cards and you got a great hand and you're sitting with like 5 wild cards in your hand, okay? Yeah. And basically, if you're in the middle of the pack, you watch us throttle back. And I know in my head, hey, I got a wild card. Hey, I got a log on a flat that I know I can go catch 2 keepers off if I need it.
Right.
So you're throttling back. So if you are in the middle of the pack, now the intense part of that game is in the top. Like if you're in the top 3 and you're battling for that championship round, oh yeah, high stress.
Oh, no doubt.
If you're in the bottom of the pack, no doubt, like a few you're in high stress. But it's almost like that middle of the pack, and I found myself in the middle of the pack just, fortunate enough that every tournament, but them darn knockout rounds where they clear the weight, they got I haven't figured that game out yet. And I think the biggest thing is, Luke, and you'll appreciate this coming from the tour, we've been used to basically our whole career, right? And then we didn't have a 50 boat or 80 boat field like on Bassmasters.
Yeah.
So you look even in practice, even in game time tournament, you're kind of seeing where that pressure's at.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That pocket over there and a 200, okay, that's getting hit. This is I didn't see many boats over here. This creek. So in our format, we fish a day and then a day off. Well, I can't manage or understand the pressure that's getting in that area. If you go in there and knockout round and whatever, Andy Morgan was was in there your day off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you go in there, knockout round, expecting to throttle them again, and you're like,
where'd they go? Yeah.
Right. So
I get that for sure.
That's kind of hard to manage not that you're managing, but, to see pressure. And I think that day off, the 2 days off of competition, I'm not getting a full feel for what I need to do for knockout round because I'm not on the lake. So
and you can't watch anything, and you don't know where guys are,
right.
So you have no idea. Yeah, I see where that could be a big deal, because as a guy that's sitting at home watching it, and you see that you're fishing the same area as whoever,
right.
It's like, oh boy, how's that going to play out when they get further? Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. That's wild. So talk about this year. I mean, you leave the tour. It's a big decision. Did you ever think that you would just end right back up in tour events just a little while later? Like, it was a big deal for you and your family. You're like, hey, I'm leaving what I've known, even though they were in the process of buying it and all that. But did you ever think that 2020, even though it's the craziest year in the history of all years, I feel like, to a certain extent, did you feel like you would wake up and be back with Bill Taylor at any point?
No, I truly, when I walked away from the tour last year, I really, in my mind, I was like kind of sad. I was like, that was my last 5-fish limit tournament.
Yeah.
Like at the change, I was truly like, well, that's it.
It's over. Yeah.
I'm not going to ever play the game of Texas Hold'em again. Even though I love the game, it's like, wow, I'm kind of over. And then next thing you know, I'm breaking back my balance beams. I'm bringing in the net. I'm doing all the packing my truck up for things I thought would never enter my boat again.
Yeah, I want to, there were a lot of guys, y'all had 56, I think, to start out of the BPT. And I know there were guys that were for it and there were guys that were against it, but you were one of the biggest names that definitely were like, hey, I got this. I know how this works. Right. And you said, did you have any problem though, going back to that for you? Was that like, hey, this is what we got to do? Or was that frustrating at all for you to fish not saying anything bad about the tour. I'm just saying, kind of going back after you got used to the BPT thing, was it something that you necessarily would have wanted to do? I guess.
I enjoy the game. I know I keep referring to it. So it was exciting and it was refreshing to me to go back and play a game that I hadn't played in a year.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It had been almost a full year. And then I get to go back and play that game again. Oh, shoot, I loved it.
And you've always fished as much as you can fish. I mean, that's how you feed your family. So you're fishing Costas, you're fishing Bass Opens, you're fishing the tour. You've always done that. So what will you do next year? They're going to open that back up to you guys. Are you going to look at fishing the tour and the BPT again? What how does that look for you right now, just as that option comes out?
Well, I don't know if I can answer yet if I'm going to fish the tour. There's
or the pro circuit, I guess I should say pro circuit now.
Right so I'm not quite sure. There's options out there for sure, and I got you as an angler, you got to look at. I mean, this is our business, and you got to look at the scenario of, hey, what is the entry fee? What is the payout? What is the entry fee? What is the pay? We're looking at the payouts just as well as we are of anything.
That's right. Profits and losses, baby.
Yeah, I got to do a little bit studying to see what everybody's going to be paying out next year. Where the top payouts are.
I get you. And so, I mean, you're going to pay, and I know this adds to it. You're paying entry fees on BPT next year. So I know that'll probably factor into your decision. Do you think as many guys will fish FLW, the pro circuit next year, as they did this year, as kind of a filler? Do you think guys will do that as much again next year? Do you think you'll see 50 guys out of 80 do it again?
I probably not. I'm going to say probably not, because you're looking at if you were to we're going to have 40. That's 80,000
entries. Yes.
$80,000 in entry fees. And I think this year people were looking for, a couple more ways to possibly make some money. But, I think people are going to, look at their options too. Even if they do put up 80, another $40,000. I mean, there's in a circuit, there's, opportunities out there for $40,000.
No doubt about it. And there's a lot of things coming up, and anglers are going to have more opportunities next year to at least pay big money and make big money next year for sure on that. And it is. I mean, $80,000. You're talking about a John Cox like entry fee format right there. that's like old John. He'll probably do it. He'll probably fish everything. He'll fish everything.
And thrift.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe thrifty. Maybe thrifty. Yeah. So let's move on. You have stirred the pot, and I know people want to know. I had 1 million comments. 1 million. I say 1 million. Of course, I'm exaggerating. LBLers out there, but I had a lot of, man, you got to get Dudley on. You got to talk about this Tom Mansour thing. Man, you got to get Dudley on. Got to talk about this Mansour thing. And you and I talked about it the other day a little bit, but you released a video. Our buddy Mike Sermon, who is a class act of all class acts. I want to first of all say that. Sermon has been around since the very first year the FLW Tour was even a thing, okay? He made one of the first casts in FLWs. 96, I believe. Could be wrong.
That's true.
Every one. He's fished every one of them ever, buddy. Every one of them ever. Yes. Yeah. Every FLW that has ever happened, Mike Sermon has fished it. With the exception of a few cups here and there, whatever. He's made some championships, but every FLW. So this is an FLW through and through dude. He's been there for a long time. But he got stuck on a sandbar, and Tom Mansour's family, mainly his son, I believe, but they run a airboat business out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, on the Mississippi River, and people get stuck there a lot, okay? And I've talked about it on the podcast a bunch. From my experience up there, it's terrible. You're stuck constantly, especially in a low water year. When we were there for the tour in 2017, there was a rumor floating around that it would cost like $500 to get pulled off. And I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do that. Like, I thought all practice, I'm like, oh, I hope I don't have to get that Mansour airboat thing over here. So you were rooming with Sermon, I'm guessing. He gets stuck on a sandbar, and they charged him $2,500. And you decided, you know what? I need to make a video for Mike. But just walk us through that, because then you took the video down. But just walk me through what happened for those few days, because you stood up for your friend, and it got the attention of a lot of folks.
Yeah, oh man, where do I start? So yeah, definitely, Mike got stuck. He called me that morning, got stuck on the sandbar, and I called Tom Mansour because I figured, he knows somebody to get him off the flat. So I called Tom, not knowing, I had no idea that he had a towing service.
Yeah.
Had no idea that his son was operating the airboat. Had no idea that Karen Savick was the secretary. I had no idea about none of this. But I make a call to Tom, and I clearly remember he tells me on the phone, he goes, I said, hey, do you know anybody that can tow somebody off? And he goes, yeah, well, Jed can. Well, when he said Jed, I don't know who Jed is. I'm just, okay, a guy named Jed.
Not cool.
He goes, yeah, right, I'm excited, right? He goes, well, he's right here with me. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I still don't know who Jed is. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, wow, what a coincidence. Like, this guy happens to be,
he's sitting at the bar with Tom Mansour.
Right.
Or wherever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was with Karen at the house. I don't know, but I just remember going, wow, what a coincidence. Well, then right before Tom hangs up, he goes, I'm just going to tell you, he's pretty expensive.
Oh, jeez.
And he laughed. Well, when he said that,
you're thinking he's going to do it. He's just going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mike's in a bad position. We tried rope. We tried pulling. We couldn't do it. So, but Tom literally said, he goes, I'm going to tell you, he's expensive. And he left. He left. But still, like me and you, like I know it only costs $675 to take my boat on a tow truck from Arkansas to Virginia.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right. Yeah.
and Ish Monroe takes his truck and his boat on a tow truck all the way to California and back for $1,500. So even when Tom laughed about it,
Yeah, of course. You're thinking probably not going to be that bad. He's just joking.
I'm not against anybody making a living.
Of course not.
Like, I'm not. I mean, he's doing a service, it's their business, and if he comes out there and gets Mike, fair is fair, right? Fair
of course.
Fair.
Gets him unstuck, yeah.
Right. Charge me. So anyways, Jed comes out there, tows him off, and he drove 20 minutes to the boat ramp, 1 mile to Mike's boat, took a rope, hooked it up. 2 minutes later, he's off. So he's maybe got an hour and a half into this job so far, pulled him off. And then Mike was like, well, what's going to be the bill? Well, he tells him the bill, and of course, Mike's jaw about hit the Mississippi River, and so he tells him, he says, if you know Mike, you've already bragged on him.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a lot to ruffle his feathers.
Yes, very much so.
Mike I can't say enough about him. He goes, isn't that a little expensive like that? And he looks at Mike and he says, you're fishing for $100,000. And Mike looks at him and is like, what has that got to do with anything?
Yeah.
Like,
and it cost me $5,000 to be here. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, shoot, man.
So, anyways, they ended up, Mike kind of was like, he called so here's where we're at. Mike called his insurance company and said, hey, this towing service of Tom Mansour is going to charge me $2,500. He goes, and I even know the page number. He said, Mike, on page 10 of our insurance policy, he says, a fair and reasonable cost for that service. He says, Mike, we're not going to cover that. Now, I'm going to remind people that Mike had an accident come up in Florida where his boat caught fire. Mm-hmm. He had to get an airboat towing 15 miles. They had to wrap a special thing around it, took it to the fire department. They charged Mike, they had 3 or 4 hours into it. They charged him $500, okay? $500 to tow him 15 miles, trailer it 31 miles to the fire department, and get him out of the water for $500, okay? So even if it was an expensive price, but when he said $2,500, I said, okay, if you're proud of that price. And here's the thing. We contacted Tom. We tried to contact Tom. We tried to contact Jed. We tried to contact Karen Savick. No responses, none whatsoever. Just to try to talk it out or whatever. Well, okay. If you want to play like that, I'll try to get you through YouTube. And I got
their attention.
I got their attention through YouTube, and I got them to then they started contacting me, and I just basically asked them to do the fair thing. I said, do the right thing, and if you still want to charge them something, do the right thing. Well, here's the ironic part of it. Tom and Karen had claimed, David, we have nothing to do with it. David, we have nothing to do with it. That was Jed. That was Jed. That was Jed. Oh, okay. Tom Mansour on paper is owner-operator. Karen Savick Karen Savick was taking information down, emailing bills, doing the secretary work. Jed did the pull you off work, right? He pulled him off. But, David, we have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to do with it. And it's kind of ironic. Then Tom Mansour, not Jed, Tom calls up Mike Sherman and goes, Mike, I want you to rip the bill up. Okay? Now, if Tom has nothing to do with it, wouldn't you think that Jed would be the one calling Mike up and saying, hey, Mike, I overcharged you. I'm sorry about it. Rip the bill up. But if Tom had nothing to do with it, why is Tom calling and telling Mike to rip the bill up? Okay? So it's kind of, there's a lot of, I took screenshots of some of Tom's comments.
Yeah.
A lot, every comment I got screenshotted. I know what he said. I know, and I have a feeling they wasn't basically in reality. Tom and I think Karen and maybe Jed too didn't think it was a fair price, whatever. So here's the rest of the story. So I put that video up. I was pretty harsh, calling them out.
Yeah.
And I felt that I needed to, and I felt that. And here's the thing: when you say just throw it off on your insurance, well, think about this. If you just throw it off, somebody's getting robbed, okay? Maybe in their mind, Mike wasn't the one getting robbed, but somebody has to pay a robbery fee of $2,500, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it was Mike or the insurance company.
Yeah, somebody's finna pay it.
Somebody's going to pay that robbery fee, which I felt was a robbery fee. Somebody's got to pay that. Well, if Mike would, nobody's really going to turn in a towing service on their insurance because you got deductible. Then they're going to raise your insurance. It's going to go out the roof. So who wants to turn in what should have been a very expensive $500 towing? No, we would have paid that out of pocket, right?
No doubt. Of course.
Yeah, you're going to pay it out of your pocket. But when the insurance said, Mike, we're not going to cover it, you're looking at, possible $2,000 out of Mike's pocket. Well, they called and said they would, Tom, who didn't have nothing to do with it, called Mike up and said, rip up the bill. Well, Mike, of course, was thankful. They talked a little bit, and I felt it was only fair to. I actually did a follow-up video.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
I thought it was fair.
Yep.
To say I took the video down. I thank Tom, I thank Karen, and I thank Jed, and I think it was fair that I would do the follow-up video, just saying, hey, thank you, and I think, and I'm going to speak on them a little bit. I think they actually called up Dean Rohoff and told him to rip the bill up. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Right. Despite, so I think
I can't believe Dean didn't just use a frog to get, like a bunch of frogs to float his boat up off of it or something.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Dean. Come on, Dean.
No, he could have put his
got no
frogs
tackle
on.
in that boat. You just got frogs. They don't weigh nothing.
He could have waited for a wave to come in and jammed his frog box underneath the boat.
Yeah.
It would have lifted it up and just floated it on out.
And Spro would have overnighted him some more if he lost him. I mean, if he crushed a frog. Come on, man. Golly, Dean. I'm really ashamed that Dean called Tom. It makes me think less of Dean. So, look, you and I talk a lot about the goings-on in the world, and I think you're like me. You shoot from the hip. You're proud of the person you are. You're proud of your opinions. But if you feel like somebody does something and makes up for it or whatever, you can come back, and that's human nature, man. That's what we should do. You came back, you made a video. Now, I think it's fair to say, and I know you agree with this, and I think Tom and them would agree with this, that had you not made that video, they would not have done that. I don't feel. Because Mike is a pretty passive guy, quiet guy. Even though he was upset about it, he probably, in my opinion, wouldn't have pushed the envelope that much. But then he got Double D involved, and you made the video, and I think it got, like you said, got people's attention. You had already reached out to him. Had you not publicly done that, I think we would have been, it would have been a whole different conversation, And I hope that, man, look, if they're running that business up there locally, which the locals probably don't get stuck as much as out-of-towners do, but still, man, that's a pretty good little racket there. At $2,500, even $500 a pop. You got to think, if you're just pulling somebody, like you said, if you're pulling a guy off a sandbar, one acceleration on that dadgum airboat will pull a Ranger right off there. That's a pretty good gig. So, and then Tom ended up being the one winning $100,000. He ended up being the one that won it after Jed said that to Mike. And then Tom won it. And Tom won it. But well, have you heard from them since this latest video?
Nope.
Since you kind of cleared the air.
Well, not a word. I really didn't expect to hear nothing. I did contact, and I'm not going to say which one it was.
Yeah.
When we were texting back and forth. When I just said, I think if you do the right thing, right? Do the right thing. I said, I'll take the video down, is what I said. I said, I'll take the video down. And so they text me back and said, hey, Tom called, said for him to rip it up. I said, okay. I said, the video's down. I said, I'll take it down. So I would think, right? I would think they would be like, thank you, right? Whether right or wrong or indifference, I'd be like, wouldn't you say thank you? Like,
yeah, of course.
Nothing. Not a word, not a thank you, not a nothing. Nothing. I said, and then it ate at me too bad. And I said, a thank you would be, and I texted to that person. I said, a thank you. I said, I would think a thank you would be, or something like that, because that video was going viral.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I put it up for a day and a half, and for my it went to 19,000 views in like a blink of an eye.
Me and you are a lot alike. Luke throwing a chatterbait, Dudley throwing a chatterbait, no views. Luke talking some crap, Dudley talking some crap, mega views. They're like, we don't care about shaky heads, Luke. We don't care what Ned rig you fish. We want you to say something stupid. Hey, give the people what they want. I like it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah. All right, buddy. So moving on real quick. I didn't mean to keep you this long, but I love it. And I think hopefully you lowlifers out there, that answers all your questions about Dudley and the video. Couple quick things. It's a weird week for me, and I'm wondering where you're at, or if you're even paying any attention because you're a really busy guy. But this FLW title event is about to kick off, which used to be the Cup. Is it weird for you that there's no Forest Wood Cup this year? Because for me, it's very strange that there's not a Forest Wood Cup. Now, granted, if it was going to be like it always was with an arena event and all that, they wouldn't even been able to have it this year, right? But that aside, is it strange that there's no Forest Wood Cup and that you're not fishing it? Is that a weird feeling?
Absolutely. I think I've got, I want to say it's 24 Forest Wood Cups that I've fished. 24 Forest Wood Cups.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So for me not to be at the Forest Wood Cup this year is definitely strange. I think it would be, in truth, I think it would be even stranger if I would see them in a Coliseum, see them at the fun or, fun zone or
at the arena, yeah.
At the arena, I think it would hit me harder, because that would bring back memories and, familiarity and stuff like that. But now that it's just basically a tournament.
It's just a tournament.
It's just a tournament. I don't think it's going to pierce me as hard as it would if I was to see them watch them on live and watching them stroll into Coliseum and that would have hurt.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Bad.
And I think, it's a crown jewel. The Cup was a crown jewel and second only to the Classic. And FLW, it was a first-class event, man. It was one of the most amazing events you could ever be a part of. And I only got to fish it once, and it was special. It was one of the most special weeks and that I ever got to experience fishing. It was very cool. But I think it's a shame, really, in my personal opinion, it's a shame that it's no longer a tournament. I've talked about that on here to death. But I had a former Cup champion last night text me. I will not say their name just for their privacy, but they text me a picture. They have a championship wrestling belt as the trophy, and he said, "What an absolute blank shame this is, that instead of a crown jewel like the Cup, they now are fishing for a wrestling belt." And I do have to agree with that is kind of silly that it's a wrestling belt. But all I hope is somebody gets hit with a chair. That's all I hope, is that it turns into a Royal Rumble. But I don't know, man. I think that, and obviously now behind Bass Pro Tour and FLW, the Pro Circuit being a feeder system, it is technically on paper AAA. That was my biggest fear going in after the buyout, because the Tour had been the top level of FLW, like the Elites were the top level of Bass, and it was just kind of those two for years. And now with Bass Pro Tour is above those. So I wondered what you thought about that this week, because it has been a little weird. I'm seeing my buddies that are there posting, and I'm like, man, it's just such a different vibe than the Cup was. And FLW's coverage, you know what I'm saying? Like when it was Cup week, it was the freaking Cup, man. You know what I mean? It was like tons of coverage, and it's like it just doesn't have that feel to it at all.
Yeah, I don't know if the feel is I don't. Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's like the feel is not there, and I don't know if because of COVID, not being able to get in an arena style format. Like it's something different. They're doing the MLF format where everything counts.
And I think if you're fishing the event, I want to say this because I don't want anybody to take offense to what I'm saying, in that it is a very hard tournament to qualify for. There are 50 guys that earned to be there that qualified through the FLW Pro Circuit this year, on top of fishing against 56 BPT guys and a big freaking huge field. So the guys that are there probably feel like it's a great tournament to be at. I'm not trying to knock the event. I'm saying that it is a very different feel than the Forest Wood Cup, and it's just not the Cup. And the Cup was one of those big deals in bass fishing to me. It was the Classic and then the Cup. And if you won either one of those, that was something to hang on your mantle that they can never take away from you.
100% agree with everything you just said. It's like it's just, I reckon what we're kind of getting at, and we're saying, I mentioned earlier in this show that it's a different game. And like what we know as the Forest Wood Cup is 5 bass, we're going
That's
for
right.
the biggest.
Chris Jones hooping and hollering in an arena.
Right. It's just a different vibe because it's like going, I don't know, it's like a football game where 11 players are on the field, and now all of a sudden you're playing a game of football with, 6 players on the field, and we're playing flag football.
Yeah, and I am very interested to see how these guys adapt to that format, man. I mean, I am, because none of them have played it. They're treating this just like a BPT with 2 days of practice. Like I'm gonna be glued to it, watching my buddies to see how they do with this crazy format. But it's just weird, man.
It's an easy transition, though. It kind of is. I feel it was a very easy transition for me. I mean, for the most part.
But do you practice any different? Because I had Justin Lucas on, and we talked about his year one struggles, and he's like, man, I think I didn't practice right. Have you changed the way you practice, that you've practiced for years to be one of the best guys on tour? I mean, what did you do from that standpoint?
Yeah, practice was different for me, where you had to hustle. You only get like a day and a half, so you have to hustle to look at. And I think in this format, you can't look at the whole lake in a day and a half.
No,
like, on a typical lake. So you have to say, hey, this section of the lake, I got a day and a half, I got to figure them out. And you just hope that in that day and a half, and you hope that you pick the right section to dissect.
Where it's going down, yeah.
Right, and that's all you can do. And if you don't, you're going to know quickly that you did not pick the right section of the lake.
When that guy in the back of the boat says, David, score tracker update from 30 other guys other than you. You're like, ruh-roh, Raggy, I think we went to the wrong end of the lake really quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
I'm interested to see what they do up there. I think it's going to be an interesting event. It's just very different, man. And I knew as a former Cup champ, I wanted to ask you that question because, like I said, I had another one reach out to me last time. I was like, man, this is just kind of this is kind of a kick in the teeth, man. But all right, buddy.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
Here's one more thought. So, you know how the tour has become the feeder, until this COVID thing, but, it's become the feeder system for MLF, which every circuit needs that. They need
got to have a feeder system. Correct.
Yeah, you do.
And they didn't in the beginning. They just invited a bunch of dudes and they didn't have a plan, and then they bought FLW, which we've talked about. Yeah.
Right. So, whatever. They got it structured just like any other circuit would have it structured now, which is fine. So, it's like the FLW Tour became, quote-unquote, AAA. Now, me and you both know.
It's not.
Right. It's not, right?
It's not.
We know the FLW Tour is not AAA.
Not anywhere close.
No. And granted, they lost when I say they, but, we had.
A lot of loss, a lot of anglers.
Yeah. We had some people leave to go to another league. They went to Bassmasters. So we lost a few regular checkers. But for the overall league, you got Matt Becker, you got Ron Nelson, you got some studs that are in this league.
Yes.
And I've always, one thing I thought of, and I said, you know what? I said, I wonder 15 years from now, and I'm just thinking, I wonder if 15 years from now, I got four like the people that are past Cup champions, that are past Angler of the Years. You got Andy Morgan, Clark Wendlandt. You got me. You got people who have multiple Angler of the Years. I wonder if that next generation is going to look at us and be like, Andy Morgan was two-time AAA Angler of the Year.
That's a great point, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a great point.
Is the high school kids 10 years from now going to appreciate Andy Morgan being
dominant? Dominant.
Right,
yeah.
And they're going to look at my four Angler of the Years and be like, oh, Dudley, I see you were four-time AAA Angler of the Year.
And look at your all-time leading money winner and be like, oh, he won all that money beating up on those guys in AAA.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I totally get it, dude. I mean, think about 1998, 1999, around there, the Wheaties box Angler of the Years. Clark Wendlandt, Denny Brower, David Walker, Dan Moorhead was on a Wheaties box back then. I mean, think about that. It was the pinnacle of the sport. FLW really was putting a lot of heat on bass then. I mean, it was craziness around that mark. And there'll be kids that are like, oh, yeah, that qualifier trail.
Yeah.
I'm glad those guys qualified for the big leagues.
That's so funny, man.
I'm telling you, man. That's it, though. That's such a great thought, though. I love that because it makes sense, man.
Yeah. A guy was teasing me. He said, Dudley, 10 years from now, he said, all these high schoolers, they're going to look at you and they're going to think you were the AAA man of the century.
They're going to wonder, why didn't he move on quicker? He was just robbing the money.
Yeah.
Oh, me. Buddy, that was awesome. I think we do have to end it on that because that was awesome. I love that.
Okay.
Y'all think about that out there, low lifers. That is crazy. This is coming from the man himself. Those FLW AOYs. I had somebody comment this last week. They're like, yeah, FLW, basically like was dominated by the Bass Pro Tour guys, and it's the cream rose to the top. And look, I get Justin Wheeler won. I get Justin Lucas won. Jacob Wheeler, excuse me, Justin Wheeler. I like that. I may invent a character in a video game named Justin Wheeler. But 7 out of the 10 at Sandusky were BPT guys. I get that, but also there was a great mix of FLW guys in there against BPT guys as well, though, in those events. And it wasn't just dominated by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion, by Bass Pro Tour guys. And I think you would agree with that. You had some that got checked, some that didn't, some that were consistent, some that weren't. And I think it's that those guys on the pro circuit are no slouches, man. They never have been. And it's the same as the elite. I get those comments. There's nobody at the elites I know anymore. And I'm like, yeah, you're not paying attention because they're smashing them. They're smashing them over there. Like those guys are catching the crap out of them. So I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting. I just hope that we can all get through this craziness that is 2020 and that 2021 we can get back to some normalcy, hopefully, as far as the way our tournaments are ran and all that stuff. But, buddy, I'm challenging you to a fishing duel on YouTube and a fishing racquetball challenge. Fat Cat Newton is my partner. You pick yours. Let's do it.
That sounds like a plan.
I like it.
So it's me and Stupid Darian.
Stupid Darian. Okay.
You and Fat Cat.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in. All right, buddy. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah,
thanks,
man.
Dudley. David Dudley. There's one thing for sure about Dudley. Besides the fact he's a great human being, there's one thing for sure. He's never at a loss for words, just like me, and I like that. So we went a long time there. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope you enjoy Low Budget Live every single week, and every single week, it is brought to you by these folks right here, the fine folks at StarTron, Starbright Solutions down there in Florida. They are kicking ethanol in the teeth with the StarTron enzyme fuel treatment because you do not want ethanol getting in your weed eater and your chainsaw. I actually talked to a guy about this weekend about how bad ethanol is in a weed eater, and that if you're not using this, it's a guy here in my hometown, True Value Hardware. He says he sells a ton of this, which is really cool. He's actually trying to sell me some, which is funny. But treats 256 gallons. This big old bottle right here, got your measurement on the side. Hit you a little dab right there in your tank, and you'll be good to go. Outboards, your vehicles, everything, lawnmower, chainsaw, weed eater, kicking ethanol in the teeth, StarTron, and nothing ruins a good day on the water like bad fuel and an engine that won't run. StarTron. So there you go. We appreciate those guys bringing you LBL for a long time now. And coming up soon, we're adding some more sponsors to Low Budget Live, and I cannot wait. Got a lot of things coming up. And some merch while we're at it. Some merch. It'll look different than this. This was a special hat given to me by Jamie Sizemore at the Bassmaster Classic. But got some merch coming, got a website coming. Lots of things. Moving on. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon. This is the podcast for Monday, August 24th. But recording this on Sunday afternoon, the Bassmaster Elite Series just wrapped up on St. Clair. And those guys, I got to watch a lot of it. It was a good rainy weekend around here, and they blitzed them, caught the snot out of them. John Cox, I thought he was going to go wire to wire. He ended up coming in third, and Bill Wilder, I think that's how you say his name, Bill, from Alabama. He used to fish the Alabama Bass Trail a long time ago. Got his first, he's kind of, unknown over there, in my opinion. Got his first win. He was so excited on camera, did a great job on camera breaking down what he was doing. 86 pounds, 7 ounces. And Bill Wilder from Alabama takes the St. Clair Elite Series on ESPN2. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. I love seeing guys get their first win. So congrats to Bill on that. Hopefully we'll get Bill on the podcast. He'll do the whole podcast gamut. Y'all know me. I ain't trying to grab him up. He'll probably be on every single one of them this week. But we'll get Bill on. Like to talk with Bill. Got several guys I want to talk to from now. I want to talk to my buddy John Cox, who now leaves there and goes with no practice to Sturgeon Bay for the title event, FLW title event, not a Forest Week Cup, title, fishing MLF style. He's got to go over there, but he got lucky. He drew that second because they're breaking them up 40 or 25 and 25, whatever the case is. He got lucky to get in that second group. So he'll rush over there and he'll fish at Sturgeon Bay. But I think John Cox, he'll probably be trouble over there, even though he's never been there. He'll smash. He always smashes. Other fishing news this week. Toyota Series. Got to say congratulations to my buddy Kurt Mitchell. Fished the tour with Kurt for several years. Kurt is an awesome, awesome dude. He won up at Sandusky Bay, which, by the way, can we have another tournament at Sandusky Bay? Holy crap. Those poor fish are like, no more drop shots. But Kurt Mitchell won up there, and then as he basically said he was going to do right here on LBL, Ish Monroe won on the California Delta. Won on the California Delta, the Toyota Series. He opted out of the Super Tournaments. That was one of the things he said. He wasn't going to fish those, even though it didn't conflict. But I think he won another big tournament on the Delta last weekend. But Ish pulled it off, won it, took the lead after day 2, never turned it loose, won that thing. And it was very interesting for me, that tournament. California has a deal, I think this time of year, you can't fish past like 12:30. So the weigh-in started like 12:30 every day. Crazy. Really short days, 6:30 to 12:30, so 6-hour days. But Ish caught some big bags, and he's really dialed on that Delta out there. There's no doubt about that. But congratulations to Ish. Congratulations to Kurt Mitchell. Very, very cool to see Kurt Mitchell win that. I like seeing that. Now, I will say payout, both those guys won like 26, 27 grand. Those Toyotas have just not panned out, and I really am going to be interested to see if they continue with those next year with so many divisions, or they bring those back to try to, congregate anglers, because they did. They had a lot of divisions. Probably wouldn't matter in the West that much, obviously, because you really only have a one Western division. I feel like most tournament trails have done that, have the West Coast deal, but they split them up in the South real bad. The Northerns really shouldn't have been affected by that either, but they were. And I think the Forest Wood Cup being taken away probably had a lot to do with that. Even though the Toyota Series Championship is a big payout event, 200 grand guaranteed, hopefully, and no entry fee deal up on Lake Cumberland. I mean, I feel like it's a big tournament to qualify for. I don't know. I don't know if it was just 2020, if that new strategy just didn't work. I don't know. But those have not had a lot of boats in them overall, and the payout is not what was advertised. And I get it. I get that with that. But I just wonder if the strategy with FLW, MLFLW next year on those will be different. Will be different at all. It's going to be interesting to see. Something else that's going to be interesting to see, and we're rocking and rolling here, rocking right along. Something else that's going to be interesting to see is the NPFL, baby. Thank y'all so much. I know I'm just now getting to it, but thank y'all so much. From the bottom of my heart, for the kind words, the post, the comments on NPFL's site. Y'all picked the right guy. He's our dude. Can't wait to watch. I mean, y'all don't understand, right? It's hard to explain what it means to a guy that an organization like that would come to and say, you're our guy. Take that a step further, and you don't understand what it's like for a guy to have people that care what you have to say enough to be excited for you, to care about what you do, have never met you, and are that excited for what you've got going on in the future. And I hope all of you get to experience that at one time in life, because the announcement came out Thursday. We did a podcast that we had filmed a couple weeks ago when those guys were here, met with my family. We had 2 days of meetings here at the LBL Bar and Grill. There were shenanigans going on right here. And it's just really mind-blowing to me, the overall reception that announcement got from folks. And I just appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the people that don't like me, as weird as that sounds. Like, if you're watching, if you're listening, even if you're bad-mouthing me on a forum, you bad-mouth me in the comments, whatever. Like, I appreciate each and every person that listens to this. Wholeheartedly. Like, it's just it's really, really special to know that people tune in every single Monday. They start their weeks with this. There are some questions, I got posed a question, and this took a turn. And we'll talk about this a little bit. I'm not going to go deep in this, because I don't feel like it even needs this much talk. But I was posed a question by Mark Jeffries at Bass Talk Live, BTL, and he emailed me a congratulations, right? And he then, and you'd have to know Mark, but he then asked some questions about basically saying that I wasn't going to be able to do what I do now and do that job, right? More or less. Passive aggressiveness. I took it as that. Mark and I had a back and forth via email. And I've always respected Mark. I have. Even in a couple times where I didn't want to because of some things that I had heard that have been said about me and other podcasts and different things. But I've always respected Mark, what he's done. He's got an amazing following and a big studio, and him and Matt do a great job. They do a great job. I'm just here in my garage doing my thing, right? But he did send me this email. And I sent him a quote back that basically stated, and I have no idea if he's talked about this, not talked about it. I don't care whether he has or not. But I basically said, you know, I risked a 15-year-long career with TH Marine to take on MLF. And he was just going to like isolate that part and read it on his show, which I didn't know we were doing an interview, right? It was an email. He didn't ask me to be on the show. He sent it in an email. And what I mean by that is, you know, the Jim Wilburn thing, all that was going on. Like I defended myself. I didn't take him on. I'm not trying to take him down, blah, blah, blah. People are like, you bash MLF, you hate MLF. No, I haven't had, there was an isolated incident. If I talk about it on here, I'm opinionated. And that was a moment in time, right? Now, did it get a lot of views? Of course it did. But I defended myself, and that's what I said. I risked a career with TH Marine because Jim Wilburn did indeed, in that time last fall, he called my bosses. He called them twice after 2 different podcasts. I don't want to go back over that. But I'm saying a commentating gig is not going to change the person I am. And Brad and Paul and Al with the National Professional Fishing League, in the first conversation we ever had, that is what I said to them. I won't change. I won't change to be the face of the life coverage. I won't change who I am. And they know that. Anybody that knows me knows that. So to ask me that question is just stirring the pot. And it's silly. It's silly. Now, it was also said to me, well, Zona and Mercer wouldn't do something like that, but you may be setting a new trend. Well, here's the thing. Mercer is very opinionated about other leagues, and so is Zona. And so is anybody else that's affiliated with a tournament organization talking about another tournament. You know, that's how this world works. But Dave makes videos. Now, you know, I don't know if Mark knows that Dave makes videos, but that was one of the examples he used in his email to me. Maybe you're going to set new trends. It was a very passive-aggressive email, in my opinion. In my opinion. In the announcement, all the announcement hubbub on Thursday, only negative thing that I got, that was it from BTL. That was it. And he and I have talked. He said he'd represent me professionally on the air, and I'm representing him professionally. That was something. I mean, he sent me an email. He said he was taking a journalistic approach after the fact. I didn't know we were doing an interview. So I don't know. I don't know what Mark's going to talk about on the air with this, but I definitely want to tell you my side and tell you and say again, thank you to the people that were positive and nice. And you know, I have seen a couple of comments, and I understand where that concern would come from. How are you going to, you know, look, man, I've told these guys, if we do something that's stupid, I'm going to talk about it. I say we because I am going to be employed by the NPFL. If Bass does something stupid, I'm going to talk about it. If they do something great, I'm going to talk about the great things they're doing. MLF, same way, good, bad, and ugly. I am a transparent person on this show, behind this microphone. It has won a lot of people over. It's why you guys tune in. I'm not going to change. I'm not. Podcast for August 24th. Go back to it. If I change, say, oh, you sold out. We told you so. Whatever. But to bring that up in the very beginning, get out of here with that crap. I don't have time for it, man. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for people that can't progressively think or think that it could be possible for there to be two standalone things. Luke Duncan with the NPFL and Luke Duncan for Low Budget Live. Now, I understand there are people that can't separate things. I get that, but that is how the NPFL is approaching it, and that is how I am approaching it. Low Budget Live was here before the NPFL, and I'll keep doing it right through the next 20 years with the NPFL, I hope. Okay? So if you like the format of the show, it ain't changing. It ain't changing. I mean, if there's anything I've established, it's that I'm not afraid to say anything. Barring ruining someone's life. I mean, there are things I choose not to talk about, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not afraid to go up against anybody. I'm not afraid to speak on things, and I enjoy this. I don't do it because I think I'm smart. I don't do it because I think I'm funny. I do this because it is something that very therapeutic for me. I love doing Low Budget Live, and I'm very appreciative to each and every one of you. And there are lots of you out there that listen every week between iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. There's lots of you. Y'all can see the numbers on most of it. There's lots of you. There are a lot of you. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I try to, as a show, stay in my own lane. I do. I don't care what companies are sponsoring other podcasts. I don't care, for the most part, who other podcasts are having on as guests. Don't care. Don't care. I would never try to interfere with that. It's not who I am. There are people in the industry that do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. Probably could at times, I guess. I don't care enough. Like, I have so much love and respect for so many guys doing shows, and I still feel like, even though I'm, going on 3 years into this deal, and it's going well, I am the new kid on the block still. I have nothing but love and respect for iClive, nothing, Bass U, Straycast, Pat Renwick. Those guys kill it, man. And we're all like, we talk a lot. It's like a brotherhood. They like what I do. I like what they do. And there's so many more out there, but those are like the big guys on the block to me. When I started this, those were the guys. Like, I leaned on the guys at iClive so much when I started this. And what inspired me to even do this was going on their show and having so much fun. And I called them and I was like, hey, man, I want to do a live thing, a podcast, but I don't want to infringe on y'all in any way. They were like, Mike himself, do it, buddy. You need to be doing it. That's awesome to me. It's awesome to me. So here we go. Ran over. But NPFL, man, thank y'all so much. There's going to be more to come. There are going to be roadblocks. We're going to have targets on our back. I get it. I totally get it. And I'm here for it. Y'all know I'm here for it. So thank y'all for the support on that. And all I can promise on my end, with what control I have over what I do for the NPFL, is I'm going to give you the best show I can give you, and I'm going to make sure we can showcase each and every angler that decides to put it out there to compete in that inaugural season, and give them the best coverage I can give them. And I want to make you laugh, and I want to give you details, and I want to interact with you through our live chat. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We are coming up on, in about 2 weeks, there's going to be another big announcement of another member of the team, and we're working on a third right now. So I cannot explain to y'all how excited I am. It can't get here soon enough. And I hope and pray that you guys will tune in and enjoy it as much as I'm going to enjoy talking about bass fishing for 7 hours a day, okay? Moving on. Right here. Something else I want to say right here. Here we go. Something new. I'm going to end the show with this. I'm going to try to do this every week. Y'all know me. I'll probably forget. Winners and losers of the week. Huh? Just a little winners and losers. A little idea I'm throwing out there. I like it. Winners and losers. Let's go with the winners list from this week. I've been watching a lot of Bass Live. ESPN2. Winners from this week. Taku Ito. Dude, My wife's been watching. My kids, they love him. He's infectious. He's like pure joy in human form. Like if you just bottle up and sell his laugh, it's like infectious. Taku Ito, amazing. Hope y'all got to watch it. He also went 3 for 3 in top 10s in that Northern Swing, along with Corey Johnson. Incredible. 3 for 3. Chris Johnson went 2 for 3, I believe. 3 for 3. Unbelievable. Jay Yellis, big winner this week. A lot of coverage. Good to see him back. Like my dad said, man, I hadn't seen Jay in a long time. Jay Yellis, one of my favorite human beings. Class act, former classic champion, former AOY. Just one of those quiet guys, does his thing. And he called him this week and called him shallow. It was really cool, chatterbaiting him. Very cool. Jay Yellis. John Cox was a big winner this week, I felt like, because not only is he a largemouth guru, he's now a smallmouth guru. And he showed us that. He had a really interesting strategy. Very cool. I think that obviously Bill Wadler has to be added to the winners list. Big week for him and his family to be holding one of those blue trophies, man. Not everybody gets a chance to have one of those. Huge congrats to him on that. Mullets. I think mullets, let's show you. This is going to be bad, but let me show you. I think mullets win the week. You know, Swindle gave John Cox's mullet. Swindle did, of all people. G-Main. And I have given myself this one. Now, I got a buddy that listens to this, Sunset Grooming, Mr. Big Fred. Y'all going to get to meet Big Fred on the channel sooner than later. But Big Fred, he'll hook you up. But I did a little subtle mullet myself, so there you go. A little subtle mullet. But mullets won. And the last winner on my little list right here, Garmin. Right there, you boy. Garmin Panoptics. Live scope. Holy freaking crap, man. Taku Ito, I believe that Cody Holland had one on his boat. I believe it's Cody. That the Federation dude that called him this week. But so many guys. Clark Windlet, Chris and Corey Johnston. Of course, John Cox didn't have one. But all these guys, I'm not sure about Bill Wadler, but Panoptics is changing the way smallmouth bass get caught and they get fished for. It is not a miracle drug. You still got to know what you're doing, but by George, you can see them. And it's crazy. It was so exciting to watch the guys panning around. Obviously, I am Team Garmin. I am sponsored, all that good stuff, but I'm obsessed with Live Scope. I love it. And it's just another tool, and it's pretty freaking awesome. But I think through that Northern Swing, if there is one thing that came out a winner, that's Garmin Panoptics Live Scope. And it's definitely legitness, as my kids say. Moving on to the losers. It's a short list. The losers of the week, in my opinion, the Forest Wood Cup qualifiers. Andrew Upshaw, Travis Manson, Matt Pangrack for BTL. A couple more guys in there. But those guys were guaranteed a spot in the Forest Wood Cup through fishing the coastas and qualifying in the Coastal Championship after MLFLW became a thing. They were told that was a no-go. I covered it on here. We've talked about it. Upshaw even made a post about it this week. But those guys are losers this week because they're not getting to fish that title championship. They didn't even extend them an invite, hey, come fish this thing. So FLW technically is having a championship. It's not the cup. That was in the brochures. That's a bad look. Bad look for MLFLW, in my opinion. You let those 6 dudes come fish. That's my opinion. That's the olive branch in that situation, because it was garbage how that was handled, in my opinion. The second loser on my losers list, the dude that should get a big shiny Forest Wood Cup this week for working his butt off in qualifying and should win $300,000. That dude, the big trophy that so many people have won. So many people, and he's going to get a wrestling belt. Now, that's cool. I'll say that. But it's a belt, and we don't wrestle. It's fishing. Trophies. Cup. So, and then the unfortunate, in my opinion, third loser on the loser list here, Ron Nelson, who won Angler of the Year, had an incredible year, won Rookie of the Year last year, but no $100,000 prize beside it this year. Now, in MLFLW's defense, right beside AOY and how it would be, decided in the rules, it said, basically prize TBD, to be decided. They are giving him entry fees into next year, so that's a $30,000 shot right there. So he did win something. And it's like Dudley was saying, can you make the argument that a AAA feeder system should pay $100,000 for AOI? I don't know. It just always has for the last several years. So for Ron, if he wins it last year, he wins $100,000, wins it this year, gets his entry fees paid. I don't know. That's a lot of that is with this MLF buyout of FLW losing sponsors. There's a lot that factors into those kind of things. But I hate that for Ron because he had an incredible year, had to overcome a lot, and he did not win $100,000. And for that, I say that's bullcrap. That is bullcrap. So Ron Nelson, shout out on a great year. Sorry you didn't win $100K. Maybe you'll win $200 up there. He will be one to watch at Sturgeon Bay. He will be one to watch at the title event. Now, I think this is going to be a very cool event to watch. I wish all my friends and neighbors that are up there best of luck figuring out that format and, hopefully winning them a wrestling belt and $200K. It goes a long ways. Got a lot of friends in that one this week, and it's going to be one that I'm definitely going to be watching to see what happens. But thank you so much, guys, for listening every week. Like I say, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel. And also, I want to say one quick thing about YouTube. I'm sorry for the ads. I'm sorry. So, a guy with Stupid Darian, he showed me some things. So YouTube was just like, they've apparently got a lot of ad money coming in right now, right? I don't control that part, but he showed me like a cheat code. And that last video, YouTube had put like 46 ads in the NPFL video, but you can manually take them out. So I did that. I went in and took them out after it had been up for a couple hours, and there were a few comments. The guys were like, seriously, dude? So I went in and took them out. I apologize for that. They've been like that in some of my fishing videos I've heard too. I'm sorry. That's something I might start paying more attention to now that I know where to look and all that. I'm not a guru with this stuff by any means, but Stupid Dumb Darian helped me. And I apologize. So thank you for bearing through that to see the announcement. If you're one of the first ones that had to watch the video with ads. So I got those squared away. Hopefully no more of that going on through the podcast. Because through an hour podcast, dude, they'll load. It was like averaging out to like every 3 minutes. And that's insanity. Too many ads. So got that going on. One thing I want to say, big shout out, Alabama Bass Trail. Miss Kay Donaldson, huge shout out. They sold out for next year, both divisions, in like an hour or something crazy. So congratulations to Miss Kay on that. That's a very exciting deal. People want to bass fish, man. People want to bass fish for sure. They want to fish tournaments, and I'm excited that trail sold out again for next year. Big time. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This week on Thursday, there's going to be a Lake Teresa, how to build your own trophy bass lake video coming up on the channel. Make sure you watch that. Make sure you like it. Make sure you comment. I'm going to take you out with some Biloxi Blues. Speaking of Teresa, make sure you hug your dang mama. Tell her you love her. And always do that. Thank y'all so much. I will see y'all next time.
Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.